Lord, see you through. Just after you've done all you can, you just stand. Tell me, how do you handle guilt of your past? Tell me, how do you deal with the shame? And how can you smile while your heart has been broken and filled with pain, Tell me, what do you feel when you're giving your all? Seems like you can't make it. Child, you just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand and watch the Lord see you through. Yes, after you've done all you can, you just stand. Be sure. Not entangled in that bondage of just God has a purpose. Just God has a plan. Tell me, what do you when you've done all you can, and it seems like you can't make it through? Child, you just stand. You just Hello, everybody. Today is Saturday, November the 21st, 2021, and I am so happy to have you joining in at this time. If you all don't mind, would you share your page, start a watch party on your pages? I have two of the most influential pastors in the nation on tonight with Real Talk with Pastor Marty Peters. And I got my big brother who's from San Francisco, where his grandfather and father pastored the oldest church west of the Mississippi. And that is none other than the Reverend Dr. Frederick Douglass Haynes III, a.k.a. Freddie. And then we have our brother. Hey, Fred, you know, Charlie is in between you and me in age. No, he's younger than me, so he's the baby brother on here. We got our brother, the voice of KBLX, your voice of inspiration from the doctor is on my show. Fred, you know that's what he says. You got to listen to KBLX. I'm gonna take a clipping of it from you. Send it to me. I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna be messy and send it to you, Freddie. These ladies be on there talking about, I just love his voice. The last time he was on there, I was like,
okay, don't get Fred started. This is not the show.
So the Reverend Dr. Charlie Haynes Jr., the senior pastor of the BB Memorial Cathedral Christian Methodist Church in Oakland, California, and the voice of inspiration on KBLX. Soul Jams right there in the Bay Area, the number one for R&B in the Bay Area. Every single day, about 10 times a day, you can hear his voice with a word of encouragement for all of us. Dr. Charlie Haynes. And then the big brother, the proud pastor of the Friendship West Baptist Church. Now, I preached for Dr. Freddie Haynes. I never preached for Dr. Charlie Haynes before. And there's no relation, you all. There's no relation. There's Haynes and Haynes.
Right.
Hanes and Hames. They're no relation. They're fraternal brothers, they're blood brothers by Christian experience. We're closer than all that. I just thank the Lord that you all are on here tonight. Now, let's talk about the Senate race that's going down in Atlanta, the re-election between you all frat brother, Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock, the proud pastor of the historic Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Dr. Martin Luther King Sr. pastor and Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the co-pastor. Let's talk about the importance of controlling the Senate, because it's going to take so much. It's going to take so much time, and it can be done probably a lot faster, I believe. Y'all help me if I'm wrong, especially you, big bro. If we got control of the Senate, then I believe President-elect Dr. Joseph Biden and our girl from Oakland, California, Madam Vice President.
That's right.
The gorgeous, the beautiful, our homegirl from North Oakland, Kamala D. Harris, will be the vice president. And I think that, what y'all think about that? Fred, you go first. You kick us off. You get us a good start, a run and jump.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you're on point in that we have to basically take the Senate, or Mitch McConnell is going to do what he brags about doing. He talked about on Fox News, how Obama was not able to get through a number of lower court judicial appointments because McConnell held them up. And we all know that he basically stole the last Supreme Court justice nomination from Obama when Obama nominated Merrick Garland in February of 2016. And of course, McConnell decides that he's going to institute a new ethic that was evidently for one term only, and that is that there would not be a nomination hearing of a Supreme Court justice during an election year. Now, ironically, this year, you have the notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, made her triumphant transition. And all of a sudden, McConnell, in hypocrisy, allowed that particular nomination to go through. And so the bottom line is that it's not just the top of the ticket, but you also have those crucial other aspects that have to do with the elected officials, the Senate, Congress, House of Representatives. All of those are crucial. And so if we're talking about Biden, Harris having an agenda that we want to hold them accountable to, the sad reality is no laws will get passed if Mitch McConnell continues to allow the Senate to be the place where all Democratic bills go to die. And so this election was not just crucial at the top of the ticket, but now we've seen it because of the brilliance of that Queen, Stacey Abrams, and so many others down in Georgia who basically organized to ensure that we would be in the position that we're in right now. So you have Dr. Raphael Warnock, prophetic pastor, preacher, heir to the prophetic legacy of Ebenezer Church there in Atlanta, and holding up that prophetic legacy in a powerful way.
Yes,
but
he
here's
is.
the thing. What we've noticed is that in this race, white supremacy is doing what white supremacy does.
Right.
And it lets you know just how important this race is, because all of a sudden they're going with the politics of sound bites and pulling up stuff from what James Cone, Jeremiah Wright, all of these relationships that, you know, Raphael Warnock has had with these amazing social justice liberation theologians. And yet what's really interesting is none of the Republican candidates who've been brown nosing with 46 minus 1, or should I say COVID 45, none of them are being held to account for the fact that this clown has not only been guilty of lying, what, every time he opens up his mouth, not only that, but he did not take seriously COVID-19 consequence. You have 250,000 Americans who are dead. I'm not even done. America leads the world in the number of people who have died from COVID-19 under the stewardship, the reckless, irresponsible stewardship of COVID 45. And so no one's talking about Loeffler and Trump and Perdue and Trump, but they want to talk about Raphael and Jeremiah and Raphael and Jim Cone, even though as far as I'm concerned, that's a good association to have because you're talking about both persons who have stood for justice, stood for freedom, and have stood for what America is supposed to mean, even when America was mean to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so sad that, you know, we the Baptist Ministers Union had Dr. Jeremiah Wright, your pastor here one year. It was at Progressive Baptist Church, Dr. Earl Stuckey's church, for the Emancipation Proclamation service. And I was basically his bodyguard that day. He was like, Marty, I don't want to talk to nobody. Keep the media away from me. And Doc, when I tell you I was his bodyguard that day, I told the media to get away. I would not let them get nowhere near. He says, every single time I say something, they take it the wrong way. They lie on me. They cut and paste things. And that's what they did with that video. Because they never watched it. If they would have watched it from start to finish, they would have got convicted and probably gave their lives to Christ. If they would watch one of the most brilliant preachers in this nation that has ever gripped the pulpit, Dr. Jeremiah A. Wright Jr. And so I totally understand that. Go ahead, Charlie, jump in.
No, I think both of you all are right on point. I think Big Brother has not only laid the groundwork for our conversation tonight, but just to pivot back to Raphael Warnock's race, Stacey Abrams have not only began this work 10 years ago, but now we're starting to see the effect. And I think what fueled him to be in position not only to be a front runner or to be in a runoff is because she lost the governor's race. Had she not lost, the fuel for Georgia to be set on fire to turn to a blue flame would not have been not only in place, but we would not be seeing the residuals of it. The critical piece about Warnock's race and him not only winning and having victory, it puts us in position that now the Senate is divided in half, being that Kamala Harris will be the deciding vote. So if he wins, it puts us not only in a better position to get policy done, to get laws passed, but to get an agenda that we can hold the Biden administration accountable. Many of us already know that fried chicken plan, the platinum plan that's in place did not hold water to actually address all of our issues as people of color. Every issue that's outlying in our community, whether it be health, whether it be economic. We already know in 2025 and actually 2035 that the African-American wealth gap will be at zero as a net worth. We can't live like that and expect to have a country that maintain a middle class, let alone to keep those who are already marginalized. We're getting ready to put out to pasture. To put a case in point to what Dr. Haynes has said tonight, with Donald John in position, he has been silent since the election. COVID 45 informationals have gone silent. Briefings have gone silent. Here it is, as we've already heard tonight, that there's 250,000 people who have died. Let's put that number in context.
200, Dr. Haynes, 255,805 people is the
Absolutely.
correct number as of right now.
That's more than all of America wars combined. All of the casualties that we lost in American wars combined have been killed now in COVID-19 casualties based upon his reckless leadership. So it's not only critical and pivotal that we have those 2 Senate seats, one in Georgia, but to change the landscape. People are worried that we're going to, quote unquote, this wrong rhetoric about we're about to become a socialist country. One, that's a lie. Two, is misinformed. And
Right.
three, now we can get back to what is truth and truth for truth's sake. So that's what I want to add to the conversation.
Yeah, so there's 2 seats where y'all. I forgot, and please forgive me. My daughter just preached, and I ran in here to get on and call you guys. Where is the other seat? There's one in Georgia. That's the
both in Georgia.
Both in Georgia.
Okay, they're both in Georgia.
Right. Both Senate seats in Georgia open.
So so one is Dr. Raphael, and the other one is who?
His name is Ossoff, I think is how you say it. Yeah, Ossoff is running against Perdue, and Raphael is up against Loeffler.
Loeffler, yeah. Who has a ton of race money, basically.
Okay. So y'all, let me just ask it. Y'all, how in the sweet name of Jesus did Mitch McConnell get back in office? Is it because America? See, this is my assumption, and y'all are more social justice than me, especially you, big bro. And that is, I said this on my Facebook page the day COVID 45 won the presidency, and although Hillary Clinton won, she won the popular vote, and she had more votes than him. But of course, he had more electoral votes. And and Dr. Jeremiah Wright taught us that you got to be selected before you are elected. Well, when I went on my Facebook page and I clearly said that Donald Trump winning 4 years ago proves that America share the same racial values as he does. Was I correct or was I wrong?
No, I mean, you're correct.
Right.
Yeah, you're definitely correct. He embodies the emboldened 72 million people who voted for him.
Right. And last Saturday they had a rally, and he comes out and give them a surprise visit to keep this nonsense going on. I just got an alert about 45 minutes saying that they threw the last thing out that he was trying to go against. So he just can't win. And even his niece, Mary Trump, wrote a book on him, talked about how his father messed him up, talked about he has nothing to fight for. He's won in almost every area of his life. But now he's talking about if he got to concede, he's going to run again in 4 years. I mean, he just won't go nowhere and sit down. And we're tired of him. But America is putting up with this nonsense. These white supremacists and the national, Rifle Association, NRA people, and the police and things of that nature are standing behind him strong. And he still lost, and they still won't go nowhere and be quiet and sit down. And y'all know me. Both of y'all know me. Y'all know me well. I'm really at a loss for words about this clown.
Well, I mean, I think he embodies, and Mitch McConnell, the politics of whiteness, and the politics of whiteness is rooted in what James Baldwin called the American lie. And so the American lie, which lifts up whiteness in, what Isabel Wilkerson in Caste calls the hierarchy of value, so that whiteness is valued over anything else. And what white women don't get is that it's whiteness in a male body that is valued more than anything else. And so right now we are witnessing, and this is my word of hope, we're witnessing the death rattle of whiteness embodied in white men. And that death rattle is them recognizing, number one, that they are slowly but surely becoming the minority.
Yes.
By the middle of this century, they will be in the minority. And
Absolutely.
that fear is driving them. It drives them
Okay.
because they know what they've done to us. And their concern is all the dirt we've done to black people, all the dirt we've done to brown people, to poor people, it's going to come back to bite us. What really is mind blowing is that you're talking about in black folks, the most forgiving, loving people that you
Right.
can ever find anywhere.
Right.
And so, as a matter of fact, as ma'am, I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, he wrote the book about Martin King Jr. Can't think of it, but anyway, he talks about the fact, and he's white. He says that black people have believed in democracy when we've been victimized by democracy. We believe in democracy more than white folk. Taylor Branch, we believe in democracy more than white folk believe in democracy. And so it's that whiteness that drives Mitch McConnell. It's whiteness that calls Mitch McConnell to say, when Obama gets elected, in the middle of the greatest recession the country had had since the Great Depression, but his number one priority was to make Barack Obama a one-term president. That was his number one priority.
Right.
Not fixing a broken economy, not ensuring health care for all, but ensuring that that black man had a limited term in the White House. Why? Because it's the politics of whiteness. And so when you see COVID 45, his stuff right now, COVID 45 embodies white hope, white fragility, white innocence, white guilt. It's whiteness that is expressed in its blatant, lying, hypocritical worst in Donald J. Trump, enabled by Mitch McConnell.
Right.
Hey, Freddie, big brother, and you all, for the others watching, if you all hear me call my big brother and my friends by their first name, it's relationship. Dr. Freddie Haynes helped put me through college. He fed me when he would run revivals for Greg Sutton and Craig Oliver and Marlon Harris and Ebenezer. I loved when he would come to Atlanta 4 times a year because I was going to have groceries that week. I was going to have gas money that week. And I was going to have some money in my pocket that week because big brother was going to make sure little brother went down there struggling in his absence. And he does so it's relationship. It's no disrespect. If you hear me call him Freddie, if you hear me call Dr. Haynes Charlie, they're my friends and my brothers, and I respect them to the utmost. But Freddie, you said something right here. It bothers me that every time white people do something to black people, hell, we always got to forgive them. We the ones got to turn the cheek. We the ones need to practice Christianity. People start quoting, even black people start quoting the Bible when white people do us wrong. And to be honest, man, I'm damn tired of black people always got to turn the cheek, always got to be the bigger person. I'm tired of it. And if y'all receive that wrong, just forgive me and pray for me. But I am tired of black people always. The last one high, the first 5. We're getting lynched in 2020. In doggone November, black men are getting lynched. Black people are going to jail, and white people are buying stock in the jails. The same people that incarcerate us is the same people that turn around and buy stock in the jail to keep us incarcerated instead of educating us. So I'm just really tired of how black people are treated, and I'm pro-black. That's why I went to an HBCU. That's why all of us have gone to an HBCU. All of us have graduated from an HBCU. All of us are pro-black. All of us try to empower black people. And that's why y'all on it tonight, because I respect y'all to the utmost. At this crucial time in black people's lives, we got to stand up. ATL, we are counting on y'all to get out just like you went out. Stacey Abrams, we appreciate your work. We hope you ain't tired yet. Let's play James Cleveland. I don't feel no waste ties, because we need you to help get this word out. Black people, we don't need y'all to stay home on January 5th. We need these 2 seats in the Senate. Go ahead, Dr. Charlie, and jump in.
I mean, I think you're right on point. I think poignant is the message of what we're saying today, is that we've seen in this particular election, when everybody have tried to brainwash us to believe that our vote does not matter, we've seen the results of what happens when we go out to the polls. We've seen the results. We've seen over and over again historically how the vote has been used as a litmus test to keep us marginalized and oppressed. And just to add to Big Brother Freddie Haynes' message, is not only the whiteness, but the white privilege that goes along with it. The illusion or the dichotomy to believe that everything is okay. I think the blessing in the mess of the darkness of George Floyd's death is that it pulled off the scales in 2020, that as much as progress has been made, America is still the same. I remember Dr. Jeremiah Wright saying it best, is that when you cook a cake, you don't cook the ingredients separate. It's all baked together. Yeah. So baked into the fabric of these divided states of America is racism. And until we acknowledge that this is part of the bones and the sinew of what our country represents, we will never deal with the demon behind it. I think, again, Trump is only a symptom of the greater issue. The greater issue is that there are emboldened white people who have been walking up to individuals on their property, challenging them, making racial slurs, calling them outside of their name. That's part of the systemic flu, if you will, or the pandemic that we experience called racism. The other part of this is that the reason we see Donald J. Trump act in the manner that he has done so far is because of Al Sharpton made a great poignant statement a couple of days ago. He says is that here it is. He was a failed businessman in business ventures, and yet America propped him up, gave him a show, gave him the illusion that he can fire people on a show, and now he's used that same mask of failed business ventures in the White House. And that's why you see the Department of Homeland Security individual who's the secretary over that department says that this election was the most secure election in America's history. And after that statement went viral, what did COVID-45 do? He goes around and fires the guy after telling the truth. So the reality is that he wants to manage what truth is and then give us a dressed up lie. But you know what the adage says is that you can never hide the naked truth behind a dressed up lie.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Georgia, these are three pastors who are begging you to go out and please vote for the re-election on January. Black people, we need you. Listen, Black people in Philly, Black people in Fulton County, in DeKalb County, in Clayton County, y'all showed up.
That's the vaccine.
As Jesus did, y'all showed out, and he won. Philly, y'all showed up, and y'all showed out, and you helped President-elect get to office. We're begging you all. We're pleading with you all. No matter what the weather is, no matter what condition it is, please go out. These 2 Senate seats out of Georgia. We need Georgia to come through. We're counting on you all. This state needs to be better the next 4 to 8 years, next 4 to 12 years. It needs to be better. Democrats, come on, let's work it. And that is our prayer. We're counting on Georgia. ATL, I'm a product of ATL. I graduated from Morris Brown College. Dr. Freddie Haynes helped put me through college. I graduated. I lived in ATL for 9 years. So ATL, y'all know I love you. You know I'm dear to you all. I was on staff at several churches there. Bishop Dreyfus Smith is still my pastor. And I still have several friends. Just lost Bishop Stephen Hall, but several friends, his wife, who's probably watching tonight. Van, your brother love you in Oakland. Y'all put the word out. We need ATL. We need Fulton County to show up to support Dr. Raphael Warnock. All right, you all. Let's go to this one. Why y'all think COVID-45 won't go nowhere and sit down and take his beating like a real man?
Fred?
I mean, because that's just who he is.
Yeah.
Notice he's always said leading up to the election, the only way for him to lose is for the election to be rigged, because he was trying to set the stage for undermining the credibility and the legitimacy of the election.
Wow.
So that's just what he does, because when you are a loser, that's what you are, Donald Trump, a loser. L, you're lame, you're a loser.
Right.
And because he's a loser, you know, the one thing he can't stand to do is to lose.
Yeah.
Right.
And yet he can't win. Because, I mean, again, as you pointed out, Marty, he didn't even win last time.
Right.
It's this electoral college, which is trash.
Right.
And let me tell you something. I need to say this because it's very important.
I want to get to it.
Joseph Biden said something that no president-elect in the history of this country has ever said. Specifically during his acceptance speech.
Yeah.
He said the African-American community has always had my back, and I'm going to have your back.
Right.
We've never had a president say that.
Never.
Let that sink in. Never, ever. All right? Now it's up to us to define what having our back looks like. And I got an agenda of what that looks like. At the top of that agenda is election reform.
Yeah.
We've got to redo the way we do elections in this country. And a part of that has to do with trashing the garbage called the Electoral College.
Absolutely.
Which is rooted in slavery.
Right.
And so that's a parenthesis. Let me get back to my point. My point is Donald Trump lost the popular vote last time. He lost it by more this time. The scary thing is, and I don't want us to miss this, is that he garnered 12 million more votes this time than he did last time.
Yes.
That's after mismanaging COVID.
Right.
After demonstrating he's a white supremacist. After putting into policy xenophobia and snatching babies from their mothers at the border. After destroying so much, he still got, we basically had 12 million more folk look at him and say, with all of that, we're going to vote for you this time.
Right. He's our man.
So as Charlie said, this ain't Trump, the source. He's a symptom of a sick nation, which is why, again, for you to have this conversation tonight about Georgia and how important it is, this just lets you know how important it is, because 12 million more folk than in 2016 voted for COVID-45 in spite of all that he had done.
Right.
If COVID-45, if his troops continue to get their signals from him, because that's what's going to happen.
Right.
January 20th, he's out. But guess what? He's still calling shots.
Yeah.
Right now, let's keep it a buck.
Right.
The Republican Party is really the Trump-looking party.
Right.
The Trump-looking party is scared to do anything
right.
that contradicts what their COVID-45 leadership is dictating. And so that's how sick this thing is. That's why this clown refuses to step down, because that means he's going to be seen in the eyes of 72 million Trumplicans as a loser.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, not only that was poetic what you just shared, but it gives us kind of like something concrete that we can not only hold on to, but it puts us in position to see the whole picture. So I'm grateful, big brother Freddie Haynes, for not only sharing that, but giving us the picture to look through the lens to see how ugly this situation is. I think that it's critical that we understand that he has literally now, as you have just said, he's quarantined the Republican Party. He understands that because 72 million people have voted for him, that he can get on some kind of social media or some kind of a news outlet and take down literally one by one every Republican that's in office if he says no. That's critical because it says that's why he's saying 2024 because he wants to put in the minds of the people, I'm not going away and I'm still running things from behind the scenes. He's really, in many respects, now our modern Wizard of Oz. He wants to be able to pull the fear. He wants to be able to pull the brains. He wants to be able to pull the scarcity of our situation and turn it so he can move to keep power. Now, the other part of this that I want to not miss tonight is that not only he's doing that, but he's setting us up for him to set up for a news media outlet. He's trying to pull together funds right now so that he can have an alternative to Fox. Because the reality is Fox cannot stay in business, continue to push his propaganda, knowing that there is an alternative, not only facts out there, but the real truth.
Wow. So I saw on MSNBC stating, because I didn't watch CNN. CNN was holding back on electoral votes and stuff like that. But I was watching MSNBC is where I found out before when he won that Saturday morning, a couple of Saturdays ago. But I was it was to the point where they were saying that he's still the most influential person in the Republican Party. Still the most. So y'all, where does that really leave black people? These doggone Senate seats, it need to lead us to vote in Georgia. We counted on y'all. I can't say it enough. In order for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to have any success, it took 8 years for President Barack Obama to get some things pushed simply because the Republican Party was leading the Senate. I mean, was leading the Senate. And so we really need these seats, these 2 seats that will give us the Senate, and that will give us power if we can make this happen. We need black people to show up. We need black people to show up. I can't stress that enough. I don't know if y'all want to hit on that even more, but I'm tired of how the way the world is right now. I'm tired of how oppressed we are, how it seems like black life is not meaningful. It doesn't have purpose. I mean, it used to be black men that got killed, but now it's black men and women that get killed. And I'm just sick and tired of it, y'all. So y'all want to hit on that again one more time about Georgia. We begging Georgia to come on.
Georgia's on our mind. We encouraging you, all of your. See, this is the best way. We all have family members all over this country that lives in not only southern parts of this country, but live in the state of Georgia. I heard Dr. William Watley say there's Atlanta and then there's Georgia, which suggests the fact that the rest of Georgia has always been handcuffed by its history. Today is the very first day that we have seen that change. And that's been led by the efforts of such as Stacey Abrams and that whole machine that's getting out the vote. There's still, I understand, I forgot what the number is, but I think there's still 1 million individuals who are not registered to vote in the state of Georgia. And the good news is, even though that's bad news, the good news is that they still have up, I think it's to December 7th, that they can register to vote for the January 5th. So there's another 1 million people that can be not only have influence in this race, but change the outcome for the good.
Yeah. I didn't. Now you blew me away with that, Charlie. Fred, I don't know if did you know that, Fred?
Oh yeah, and I think it's real important that we emphasize that voter registration continues up until the 7th of December. The 7th of December. So the beautiful thing is that with all of those unregistered voters who now see your vote counts, let's go ahead, handle business, because we have the thing that's so important and why platforms like this are vital is because you have a number of folk who are going to be led to believe, well, I didn't vote, so I don't get to vote this time. That ain't true. I'm not registered to vote, so I won't get to vote this time. That ain't true. You can register and vote right now. And when you register and vote right now, it means you can participate in the runoff. If you did not vote November 3rd, you can vote January. So the good news is that as long as we have platforms that are teaching truth
Yeah.
and spitting knowledge and dropping facts, the
Yeah.
good news is once we know better, we can do better. And since Chale is dropping what lyrics, I might as well say all of us need to get on that midnight train to Georgia. Woo woo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, so
Charlie likes Georgia. I know he does. Charlie,
you know I love Georgia, Freddie.
We've been to Georgia.
Hey,
Oh, no.
man, you done had some great meals in Georgia. You done some of your greatest preaching. We done had some great times in Georgia. Charlie, me and you ain't never hung out in Georgia.
That ain't what Charlie talking about.
No, listen, I hung out with my mentor. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh,
right
gonna say is,
but I used to be the mayor of Atlanta, Charlie.
Places I've never been.
Well, on that note, I ain't gonna say he ain't lying.
You know I ain't studying you, Charlie. You live here in Oakland. You live up the street from me, Charlie.
That's right.
We neighbors. So
Yes,
you
sir.
all. So this is my point. Ivy and I been talking about this for a long time. We cannot stand the College of Electoral. I mean the Electoral College. We can't.
Right.
What do we have to do to do with that? How does that take place for us? What do we got to do? And Freddie, I know if you lead this, I know everybody else will join in. We ain't got to look. We look to you. Several of us across the nation look to you. Right. And I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna put up. I'm gonna challenge you, big brother. Little brother gonna challenge you before we get off the air tonight. What do you got to say about this? Where does that lead us with the electoral votes?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm framing it within the context of election reform.
Yeah.
Because there's so much about how we, in the name of democracy, handle elections that is very undemocratic. And so again, at the top of that is the Electoral College. In order to overturn the Electoral College, it's going to require a constitutional amendment. And so my thing is that's something that through education, we need to begin the process of now. Because to get a constitutional amendment, of course, you have to have, I think, 37 states to basically ratify that we want this constitutional amendment that will now have, instead of an electoral college, the popular vote will determine who wins the presidency. So that is at the top of the list for me of election reform. Also with election reform, we got to reach a point where, as Jesse Jackson has been saying for a long time, every single person in this country, once they turn 18, should automatically be registered to vote. Right. Automatically. Period. The end. If you're a citizen of this country and 18 years old, you should be registered to vote. Further, we got to pass the John Lewis voting rights bill in Congress that Mitch McConnell, there it is again, talking about the Senate and the importance of the Senate. The House of Representatives has already passed the John Lewis voting rights bill. It's sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk right now. So I'm taking you back to Georgia and how important Georgia is. But getting back to my point, it's crucial that we have in this country, everybody who turns 18 should have the right to vote. Right. It's crucial that the John Lewis voting rights bill is passed so that we do all we can to end voter suppression. And I have a list of things under election reform that must be done. There is no reason on this planet that we should not have in every state early voting. There is no reason that we should not have in this country on election day. Election day should be a holiday. Right. Because people who have to work, if they go to polls where the lines are extraordinarily long, it robs them of lunch. And sadly, a number of our people don't have the luxury of taking off to go and vote. And so those are just some of the things that we need to do in terms of election reform if we're going to live in a country where the supreme value of democracy is one person, one vote.
That's amazing and brilliant and practical. I mean, you know, if we just had just all three of those, I don't know what's else in the election reform, but if we just have those three major points, the landscape of our country will not only change, but we'll begin to see immediately results of what we've been asking for. Because as you've already mentioned, the country is no longer all, I mean, Montana is all white, North Dakota, South Dakota, those places. But the rest of the country looks like the tapestry of what America ought to be. You know, black, brown, you know, everybody that's a part of this country ought to be represented in those votes. And when you have places like North Dakota carrying electoral college votes, that's making up, I mean, the race is already rigged.
You know, North Dakota and South Dakota have 4 electors.
Right.
California has 2.
Right.
And California has, what, 41 million citizens?
Yeah.
North Dakota and South Dakota combined with Montana can't get to 10 million.
Right.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Yeah.
I'm totally down with Reverend Jesse Jackson. When you turn 18, you should automatically be registered to vote.
Automatic.
I thought America was the place that people want to come. I thought America was the place of the home of the free, home of the braves. It's the American dream. It's really not. And these electoral votes does not really decide the election. It doesn't.
Mm-mm.
How can you have the popular vote, the most votes, and still lose, as in Hillary Clinton's case?
Right.
Al Gore's case.
Al Gore's list. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So people stand in line for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours in the rain. They said in Georgia, people was going to Walmart, buying some lawn chairs for people in line while they held their places just to sit down while they go in line, y'all. They had it, you know, black people gonna make sure we gonna look out for each other.
Yeah.
We're gonna look out for each other. But it's so sad that we're in the shape that we're in, and this ain't nothing but in 2020. Still racist, still racism, still Jim Crow. And we got to get to the point. So, Fred, let me say this. And I know y'all got preached tomorrow, and I do too. But I was going to save this to ask this at the end, but I think this may take us for about the next 20 minutes, and then the show will be over with. Freddie, this is my challenge for you. And you can get on me if I put you on the spot after the show. Don't do it on the show. I don't want people saying they big brother give them their little brother in front of everybody. It's a few thousand people watching tonight. So Freddie, you ready for this?
What's up?
You know, I would never ask you nothing stupid on live. I would do that in private, but so I would do that in private. So check this out, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
When are the Black Democratic pastors going to get together and write our ticket for this present leadership? And I'm calling on you, Fred, to you and Jamal and Charlie and Dewey. Let's get some guys together, have a meeting, because this is my understanding that when Donald Trump became president, all the white evangelicals got together and gave him a list of judges who they wanted to see put in place. I don't know how true it is, but I've heard it from several guys who are influential in the ministry, and they've told me. So I'm just wondering, since Kamala is from Oakland, we from the Bay Area, Joe Biden said in his acceptance speech that he got to be here for African Americans. So we got to start writing our ticket on what is it that we want them to help black people do, because no other president has talked about helping black people or doing anything for black people. I don't know if you want to address that, Freddie. I don't know if you want to say that's a dumb question. Why did you ask me that on public? I don't know what you want to do. But if there's anyone, in my estimation, and I'm sure Charlie would agree on this, if there's anyone that can pull us together and that we'll listen to, if you remember, Freddie, when you came here for Green the Church for Ambrose, and we were at Bishop Macklin Church, all three of us were there. I asked you in the office, I'm like, Freddie, who are we going to listen to? We don't have nobody in the Democratic Party that we listen to. You start naming some names. But when it comes to black pastors, and it's somebody in the social justice realm that we all listen to, and we all respect, is Frederick Douglass Haynes III.
That's fact.
But lives and pastors in Dallas, Texas.
Yep.
No, I appreciate that. And I take that challenge because I think, and I want to be fair, because Charlie mentioned like William Watley is doing some good stuff. Jamal is doing some good stuff. Barbara Williams Skinner, Cynthia Hale, all are doing some good stuff. And so my challenge to all of them is, okay, let's put all our stuff together, and disseminate it to our colleagues, and then, basically present a united front by way of an agenda, because you're right. That's exactly what white evangelicals did. White evangelicals basically sold their soul to Trump, in spite of the fact that ain't nothing evangelical about him.
Absolutely.
But they wielded power with Trump. And Trump promised to fight for religious freedom, to stand against abortion, and they were fine with that. So they don't care nothing else about anything else he's doing, as long as he did those two things. And so my thing is, it's time for the black faith community to do it, because basically we are where we are because it's in our DNA. There's a civil rights bill, there's a voting rights bill, there's a Fair Housing Act, because Martin Luther King Jr. told Lyndon Baines Johnson, this is our agenda. So we ain't new to this, we true to this. This is what we do. And so my thing now is, we just basically need to go ahead and say to our homegirl, say to Joe Biden, you said you're going to have our back. This is what it looks like.
Absolutely.
It's not what you say it looks like. It's what we say it looks like. And so that's been my whole thing. I've basically drawn up a thing that says what having our back looks like for the Biden administration.
Absolutely.
Well, Mike, I had a nice question. People on here give me credit. That's a good question, Pastor Peters. I only had one person I could ask it to, and that's you, Fred. That's just the respect little brother has for his big brother, and
major respect.
And I love Jamal. Jamal went to school in the AUC. I love Cynthia Hale, but when it really come down to it, I want to hear what Freddie Haynes got to say. And this is no disrespect to nobody. I know what you stand for. I ain't worked close with Jamal like that. I work close with you. I know the type of stuff you do. I know you've been the president of NAACP. So has Jamal. I think Cynthia, Jamal, you, William, Barbara, and all these other names, I think y'all need to get in a room, social distance, or get on a Zoom call, a private Zoom call, or I like StreamYard because it's more private than Zoom. Anybody can get on Zoom if they got a code or whatever. But you guys need to come and we will follow. I have no problem submitting to your leadership. I have no problem submitting to Jamal. I have no problem submitting to Cynthia Hale. Of course, I went to school in ATL. I have no problem. I love Bishop William Barber. He's one of the smartest men around there. He can preach and he got something to say. And I honestly think that you guys need to write this ticket for us. Y'all know, Fred, you done already done the framework. We just need to go ahead and put some stuff and put some stuff on there. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, y'all. I promise you. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Charlie. What you got to say?
I mean, I don't have much more to add to it. You know, I'm a walk in the shoes of our big brother, and say like Jeezy said the other night, we're gonna do it for the culture. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think we do. It's time that we have we now through Kamala and through Joe, it's time that we have a seat at the table.
Absolutely.
You know, the wrong black preachers went to go sit with COVID 45.
Absolutely.
The wrong ones.
Right.
We ain't never heard of before. It's time that we get some folk in there that will say, you know what? I'm interested because Freddie at the table. I'm interested because Jamal and Dewey and Cynthia Hale at the table. We all know them, but these guys that disease brought to the table to the White House, we don't know them.
Right. And more importantly, they don't have a moral voice, and I think that's what's been missing in this whole process for the last 4 years. Is that the moral voice, especially of the black church, appeared to be muted based upon all of this propaganda that's been pushed down our throats for the last 4 years. You know, so it's critical that we hold not only Joseph Robinette Biden accountable, our vice president-elect accountable, but our nation accountable. And the moral voice is we got to speak truth to power. You know, you're in office. We voted for you because we believe that you can carry forth our agenda. One of the things that's always been criticized of President Barack Hussein Obama was the fact that he didn't do enough for black people. Well, the point is that we did not have, in retrospect, a collective agenda that held him accountable to the things that we wanted for everyone in our community. What happened was, in my just estimation or opinion, is that we celebrated too early. We celebrated the fact that he was the first African-American president, but we forgot that 2 years later that the Senate seats were going to be up for grabs. And because they were up for grabs, we celebrated too early and got early defeats. We cannot afford to do this time. Well, we got a celebration, but we got to keep fighting until we rectify all of the wrongs that we've experienced in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And let me just say this right quick, Doc.
Go ahead.
I don't want us to miss what Charlie just said. In 2008, we were so hyped, so excited. I was among those. And while we were partying, the Tea Party went to planning. And the Tea Party set the stage to take this decade. They took the last decade, and it eventuated in Trump becoming the president of this country, because the Tea Party, while we were partying, they planned to take over local, state, and even congressional and Senate seats. They didn't just take the Senate. They took local elections. And right here in Texas, because 2010 was also setting the stage for what? The census. And the redrawing or gerrymandering of district lines. So they took the decade because they went to planning. And so the question now becomes, are we going to plan or are we going to party? Because we've discovered that partying without planning leads to our own destruction.
Right. Yeah. That's major. That's right.
Hey, y'all, I would think that they divided us before he went to office by killing Dr. Jeremiah Wright, all of our mentor. And Dr. Jeremiah Wright could have pulled all of us to the table, and we could have wrote our own ticket when Obama went in office. But they had pretty much silenced him. They had pretty much told him to break his ties with his pastor and stuff like that. So that basically broke. And that's in my estimation. That basically broke the relationship with black ministers, basically dealing with him on a personal level. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
Agreed.
All of us love Dr. Jeremiah Wright. He could have called us at midnight and we would have been trying to get on a plane to go somewhere because he said, come on, let's do this.
That's fact.
Yeah, but we definitely got to hold them accountable, and we must make sure without a shadow of a doubt that we get these 2 seats in this Senate. We need them bad, and I can't wait to be on a conference call, or call with these great minds that we respect, like these two that I have on tonight, because it is time that we are put at the table, and it's time that we have a voice at the table. Man, I sure appreciate y'all for being on tonight. Y'all, listen, let me say this, you all. Breaking news. CNN just reported, California reported 15,000 new COVID cases yesterday.
Jesus.
It's crazy.
And that idiot had 74 million people voted for him, and he downplayed it. And now almost 256,000 people by in the morning probably will be deceased because he downplayed it. And he admitted that he downplayed it.
Yeah.
Fred,
when you have a clown in the White House,
yep,
you have a circus in the country.
Right.
So, I mean, it's
right.
I mean, it's not a lot else you can say about it, because it's really sad for those families.
Yeah.
But again, you can't elect a clown and not expect a circus. And we've had 4 years of a circus. And so now we got to make sure that those who participated in the circus in Georgia don't get back to the Senate.
Right.
Because if they get back to the Senate, we're going to have some residue from the circus while we're trying to rescue the country.
Yeah. Oh, so sad. Doc Haynes, what do you got? What is Friendship West doing? Are you with a few people in the building? I mean, I know your building is so large. How is it? I think Dallas is back open.
No, we ain't open, man. Texas was the first state to have 1 million COVID cases. We are at code red in Texas. So I think California came into 1 million recently.
Right.
We were first to have 1 million. And so unfortunately, our governor, his nose is in the behind of Trump. And so he won't do what's necessary to shut things down. So you have some churches that are open, ours isn't. And, as I've told them, we ain't opening until I hear from the Savior and science. And right now it's dangerous. I am not going to create a super spreader in a congregation in the name of Jesus. There's something sick about that. And especially when Black folk, I saw this stat 3 weeks ago, 72% of all folk who get hospitalized from COVID are Black.
Yeah.
So why would someone who's responsible, especially with the stewardship of influence, use that influence to get people in what would be a super spreader in the name of Jesus? So no, we ain't back, and we ain't gonna be back for a minute. And especially in a state like this, we definitely ain't trying to rush to get back. So we're virtual. We're on all the social media platforms, and that's just how we rolling.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Dr. Haynes, I know you're in your building, but you're preaching which are just your staff people, right?
Yep. Staff, we social distance. We do virtual services a couple of times a week, but we have not opened up the building. Only thing that we have done is that we're passing out food. So boxes of food every Saturday, all the way to the end of the year. We're making sure that people have fresh produce so that they can subsidize some of the issues that they're having around food shortages in our community. But yeah, we're going to remain virtual. Just to borrow Big Brother's words, we're going to remain virtual until the Savior and science and the vaccine comes, because that's where we are right now.
Absolutely. I do service with 10, 12, just my staff, my family, my children. And we do live from the building, but we check temperatures, everybody wear their masks, and especially when praise and worship is going on. If anybody's temperature is above 100 or above, they cannot enter the building.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot enter the building. I put 4 people out of a funeral yesterday. They temperature, and the crazy, this is my first time ever seeing the machine, because at Victory, the machine, it reads your thing. But that thing was like, the monitor, it read error. It wouldn't even give it. It just said error.
Wow.
Then it was on somebody else, and it read theirs like not. But there was 4 people. I said, you guys cannot enter the building. It was like, are you serious? Like, I'm very serious. You guys cannot enter this building, because I don't know. I'm not saying you have COVID, but something is going. The doctor told me anytime your temperature is 100 and above, is something going on with your body.
Right.
And we ain't playing. We ain't playing. We ain't no doctors in here. We ain't playing. And even if you got a D-Med or a PhD, that still ain't the same thing as a medical doctor.
Right. I know that's right.
We're not playing. And I thank God in these last 38 weeks, nobody has gotten a cold. Nobody has gotten COVID. Nobody has gotten a sinus infection. My bubble have been safe at church. I'm not playing, man. Even Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving is usually at my house, and my parents, brother and sister come over, the kids come over. I'm not doing it this year, man. I'm going to cook, and I already got my stuff to go for my parents. My parents are older, doc, with underlying conditions. Man, do y'all know I would probably be a client at my job if I gave something to my parents? I can't do it. I can't live. I can't live with that on my life. If I brought something back to my daddy, who was 87 years old with underlying conditions, I can't do it. My mom has diabetes, high blood pressure. You know, I can't do that. And I work every day, so I'm safe. I make sure I go see my parents on my off day, and that's the only time I see them. Other than that, I'll call. But I thank you all for all of us for doing that. Matter of fact, I went to Home Depot today and bought some more jugs of solution. But we do it right, though. I have a crew that comes in that does a deep cleaning to the church, everything. The praise singers, which are my kids, my niece, they use the same mic every single Sunday. That's their mic. Don't nobody else touch their mic. Don't nobody touch my mic. Everybody else got their mics. Everybody else is social distancing. If you're in the same household, you can sit next to each other. But we try to make sure that we do that. But it's just the truth of the matter is people around California are not wearing a mask.
Yeah. Every time I got masks everywhere I go. Some in the car, some at the door. So the moment I leave, I'm masked up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when I'm in the car, I ain't wearing no mask. I'm in the car by myself. I see people ride down the street. Like, see, that's why you can't breathe, because you in the car by yourself, and that's why you don't like wearing your mask. And people wearing it up under your chin. What the hell? Your chin can't get COVID. You got to cover your nose and your mouth and your eyes. If we people that wear glasses, you're fine, but you can get COVID in your eyes. People just don't want to take it serious. I thank y'all. Freddie, I'm counting on you, big bro. You look like you falling asleep. I know what time it is in Dallas. I know what time it's 9
hours ahead. Yeah.
I appreciate you. Dr. Charlie, who's running for bishop, we pushing him. We may go CME for a couple of weeks to get you in, get you in office. I went AME for 5.5 years at Morris Brown, but we sure appreciate you. Dr. Fred, what time you come on in the morning, Fred?
10 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Pacific.
Yes, sir.
The voice of inspiration. What time you come on? This is the Reverend Dr. Charlie Haynes, and I'm your voice.
It's the voice.
Inspiration. Freddie, I'm going to tape it for you in a few minutes. I'm going to send it to you.
You ain't got no sense. We all at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then it runs throughout the day. Facebook, YouTube, and Vimeo.
Hey, Charlie, how many times it run throughout the day? Watch this, Fred.
You talking about the spots?
The voice of inspiration.
I don't know. It's about 10 or 12, 15 times. Yeah.
Did I tell you, Freddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. So y'all watch BB Memorial in the morning and watch Dr. Freddie Haynes in the morning. After y'all watch them and get a word, you can fall asleep on me at 12. All right. Facebook, don't forget to watch my boy, Pastor Elliot Ivy, in the morning at 10 a.m., 10:15 a.m. on Facebook Live. Watch us. Get a word from the Lord. We appreciate you all for being with us tonight. I've enjoyed this hour and 15 minutes with my big brother, Dr. Freddie Douglass Haynes III, proud pastor of the Friendship West Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas. And then my homie, Dr. Charlie Haynes Jr., proud pastor.
And we can't close out without saying, we've already said it to him, but we want to say it again tonight. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Just made a milestone.
Appreciate
it. Today your birthday?
No, November 10th.
Yeah, November 10th.
Oh, man. I guess I forgot. Happy belated birthday, big bro.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
25 again? All right. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Would y'all come back on again? I've had an awesome time. Thank y'all. Enjoy your night. God bless y'all. Peace out, everybody. Thank you for joining Real Talk with Pastor Marty Peters.
All right. Appreciate y'all, man.